A kind day to you all, I'm Kinsmarck, and I've played a significant amount of Star Wars Battlefront since my first few episodes of it, and I'd like to share a few of my thoughts about it as I conclude my coverage of it. I've actually reached the max rank allowed for the open beta, and so I've acquired all of the available blasters, and I still favor the default A280C and E11, and it seems I have yet to actually acquire the E11 for the Rebels, so let's do so now. And I've also learned the way the star cards actually work. Star cards are essentially cooldowns. You don't need to purchase stacks of them, a la other games including a card system. They essentially allow you to construct your own classes, since this game has done away with the classic Battlefront class system. And so I've yet to acquire very many. I have found that I very much favor the Cycler Rifle, which is more or less a conventional firearm, which is good at piercing through shields and also deals heavy damage. However, it's only a single shot, so you must make every shot count, and it has a lengthy cooldown. However, if one is careful, one can stay mobile, and the cooldown isn't all that long. So, I shall connect to the action and comment a little more upon some of the features and mechanics that I simply lacked the experience to really comment upon. The one I want to cover the most are the scattered power-ups. I enjoy them, I'm conflicted about them, because they are fun, and they keep the action a little varied, they mix things up. However, they feel very arcadey, and it just feels a little strange in a Star Wars game. So, I can't really come to any conclusion about them other than to say that they don't really feel entirely at place here. Alright. And I've also learned how vehicles work. And if I can come across one, I'll attempt to showcase some of the aircraft's gameplay. Because I can say with no small amount of certainty that the aircraft are the very weakest aspect of Star Wars Battlefront as it currently exists. The controls are atrocious, especially for snowspeeders. Anyway, let's see. I suppose I'll show off a little more of that Cycler Rifle. And I just have one question regarding the model of the Cycler Rifle. Let me hold still for a second. I just want to ask, why is the scope on the opposite side of the rifle? I'm sorry, I couldn't not address that. Let's just put it to use. Hi there. Ah, missed. So you can watch that meter on my card deck. Uh-oh. Orbital strike! No, no, no. Ah! Alright. Those are incredibly intimidating. I think they're meant to represent Star Destroyers raining artillery from orbit. Let's see. And I've actually realized that this particular map plays very much like Rush mode from some of DICE's previous work. I've also realized that Cycler Rifles do a significant enough amount of damage to even sometimes drop chicken walkers. Let's see. Weapon defend. There we are. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright, speaking of, come on, move out of the way. Yes! Oh, that was a thermal imploder. So, I've also realized exactly how the Y-Wing run against the AT-AT is working. Essentially, they're dropping ion munitions, which are disabling the AT-AT's shields for a temporary period, allowing our cannons and small arms to actually damage it. You can see the health meters of the AT-ATs at the top of the screen. And so it's essentially our objective to get as many Y-Wings on a run as possible. Ah! We saw each other and he was the faster shot. and then capitalize upon the opening that the Y-Wing runs create. Oh, hi! I've also realized that at close range, hipfire is your friend. Because I realized when I read one of the tooltips during a loading screen that zooming, while useful, does not actually increase one's accuracy. It merely increases the narrowness of one's sight picture. Alright, I'll follow Luke. Or I'll just do some sick cartwheels. It's cool too. Alright, I've also learned what partner start is. It's essentially a less organized version of squad spawning. And I can't say I'm a fan of it, especially given the lack of control it seems players have over their partners. I know one can play essentially co-op with friends that way. It just kind of feels as though one is more along for the ride than necessarily a part of the tactical coordination of combat, as compared to many of DICE's previous works. Let's just put a solid round straight through the cockpit. I actually got a little damaged pop up there, alright. The other thing I've realized is that while everyone is concentrating fire on the AT-AT, if the enemy is smart, that's when they push, because no one is paying attention to them coming. Okay. Let's move on up. So, what exactly is this power-up? You are... Proximity Bomb! Excellent! Hi there. Ah, missed. This is why I still like this rifle, because it's fairly accurate, even at range. Ah. I am not showing off any of the accuracy that I swear I had last night. Because I had played this for several hours last night. There we are! Whoop. Ah. Alright. And it seems that the spawning issue is not constricted to the rebels. The Imperials run into it too. It's just not as severe, it seems. So anyway, let's place a proximity mine next to the objective, just to keep any Imperial scum away from it. Activate. Are we activating it? There we are. So, let's see if I can find a little aircraft pickup, so I can show some of that off. Because that means I need to safely close on where they spawn. Ah! Alright, well, maybe this time I'll spawn inside the hangar. Nope, not quite. Right. At least there's a door over here. So inside we go. Inside it. Fantastic, they're already pushing inside. That's not a friendly turret! Oh, I want to die. Alright. How about this? Still nothing. Have a thermal detonator. Yep, got rid of it. Right. Let's activate the uplink. Whoa! Alright, fair toss. Perhaps my ally will finish what I started. I still absolutely adore the atmosphere of this. Because I have some criticisms. At the same time, however, I can hardly overstate how much I appreciate the attention to detail that went into creating as accurate a Star Wars experience as possible. Come on, come on, come on. Ah, they have that thing on lock! So that means I really need to clear the hangar first. Aha! I spawned inside. That's a cute shield you got there. Ah! Good lord. They are pushing hard. Aha, here we are. Excellent. Here is an A-Wing pickup. Get it and use it. Call in the A-Wing. And as you can see, it cinematically cuts straight to air support arriving. And I kinda like that, as it kinda keeps some of the suspension of disbelief of why there are so many grounded units present in the spawn zones, a la some of the previous Battlefront titles. And at least the A-Wing, it seems, which I have yet to pilot, mind you, controls much smoother than the Snowspeeders did. The Snowspeeders were horrible. So it controls essentially via the mouse. Alright, so what exactly are my abilities? 1 activates a shield. 3 seems to activate some kind of missile. Hello, TIE Fighter. How are you? Aha! Yes, alright, so I right-click to lock, and then hit 3 to launch a missile. Alright. Can I accelerate? I can. Not much. Hey there. Whoa! Alright, that was close. I'm kind of enjoying the A-Wing controls.
Well done. Now defended.
Ah! I played chicken with a TIE Fighter, and no one won. This is kind of my favorite stage of this map, as the walkers close in, and we're moved to this wide-open trench warfare space, where I can start picking off enemies at extreme range. Let's move up. There we are. Snowspeeder. This is what I wanted to showcase. Because compare the smoothness that you could visibly see in the controls of the A-Wing to this. I'm attempting to move down right now, and I can use the WAS and D keys to move laterally, and they just don't work very well, nor do they look very natural. Because this does not look very natural. Whoa! I can, at least, punch it by hitting 1. There we are. And I can't yet say exactly what the 3 key does. I'm wondering if it's the tow cable. Okay, come on. There we are. Let's lock onto you. At least it seems to kind of guide my flight path toward a target that I'm locked onto. I just don't like how much it removes my direct control from the aircraft. It makes it seem as though, like right now, I'm hardly guiding it, and it just kind of automatically follows the target. And there. What does 3 do? I still have no idea. And the thing I've also noticed with this is that since if I right-click and lock onto a target, it keeps me facing it, it doesn't actually account for the lead of a moving target. So most of my shots will miss. I'd like to return to the fight on the ground. I would like to return to the... Can I nosedive? Can I crash into the ATST? Maybe. There we are. Sweet. Killed 10 men myself. Efficiency. I shall martyr myself. For the rebels. Hi there.
We've activated the uplink station. Well done.
At least, however, that has answered my question. Whether or not all of the aircraft that were flying so low overhead were players or not. They certainly are.
Bomber locked in.
I know. See. Hit you. And usually, there we are. The cycler rifle will not quite kill an enemy in a single shot. However, will leave them with such little health. Oh. That interceptor came uncomfortably low. That a quick couple of shots from an ordinary rifle will finish them. Hi, that's man. Hi. Let's wait for a target. There we are. Nice. Alright. I see another snowspeeder pickup. I do not want it. The one thing I've yet to actually try in this game is the hero combat. Alright, so I have a shoulder mount. Is that ATST still operational? There's one over there. Ah! I think I hit it. Alright, that was an unguided shot. Because I think one can acquire a lock with the shoulder-mounted rocket. Which actually renders it a missile and no longer a rocket. Ah. Concentrate fire. I should have saved the shoulder-mounted munitions for this. Come to think of it. Yes! Alright. So, that more or less covers some of the more critical aspects that I wanted to mention. Because I kinda like, and at the same time, kinda criticize the card system. Because it means that every aspect of combat is almost up to chance, save the very most essential equipment, such as your weapons, that one carries into combat, as all the vehicles are just kind of scattered around the map. Things like shoulder-mounted rockets, which ordinarily an engineer or a demolitions class would get fully oriented toward in terms of their ability to contribute to that aspect of combat. It just feels like it's streamlined to the sake of simplicity, rather than moving anything along any quicker. I feel as though if I want to play a character who's focusing, say, primarily upon anti-vehicle combat, I have to work harder at simply filling that role than anyone else. At the same time, I recognize that if someone wants to play a vehicle-centric character, they too have to work a little harder to find the pickups and everything. It just seems like it's a little more, I guess, chance and labor-intensive than if one were to simply use a classic class system that allows one to specialize one's favorite style of play a little more organically, or not necessarily organically, mechanically. So I'm kind of on the fence about it. I like the fact that one can construct their specialties via the cards to a degree. It just seems as though it's a little limited. So I'll reserve final judgment, of course, for the final version of the game. I'm simply a little wary of what it might mean at present. So, other than that, the vehicular controls notwithstanding, I am still very much excited for Star Wars Battlefront. Again, I kinda wish that a campaign were coming. However, I recognize that that's not the objective here. The objective here is to deliver a very well-polished in terms of its atmosphere and accuracy competitive FPS experience. And I simply hope that they continue to work on it, and that what we're seeing here, especially within these grayed-out extra modes, even though there are several of them present, there aren't that many. So I hope that in the final version that all of these are present at launch, and that they continue to release additional content, additional modes, maps, characters, customization, etc. as the game gets worked on. And I think that about concludes my coverage of Star Wars Battlefront, so thank you all for sticking with me throughout this multi-part series. I am Kinsmarck here at Last Level Press, and as always, I wish you all good gaming, and Godspeed. Driver, once again the park. Charles, I swear, have you been hitting the eggnog again? I know it's not Christmas time, Charles. You've been lying to me. Again.